Hey, what is up guys? In today's video, I want to share with you the number one question I get asked here on YouTube or on Discord or in private Smash lessons that I do, or in the Discord server, which I always leave a link to in the description below. And that would be, how do I keep focus? How do I stay focused while I play? How do I not autopilot? And how do I not zone out? So I totally get this, because when I play, I often find myself zoning out in the same way. Like, I'll be playing, but I'm not even thinking of the game like at all. I'll be thinking of what I'm doing later that night, or what I want to have for lunch, or what vacation I want to go to, like Honolulu next week, right? Just kidding, I actually don't like vacation, but I totally get it. So my response to this is gonna come from a book I'm currently reading, and it's a technique that I'm using right now, but let me just talk about the book. So it's called The Inner Game of Tennis, and someone recommended this to me in the YouTube comments. I don't remember who, but please let me know if it was you, and I'm very pleased with this recommendation. I'm gonna leave an affiliate link in the description below. I'm gonna add it to the reading list, and I'll probably make a longer video on this at some point. But let me just talk about the section on focus, specifically focus during a match. So here's what he says, the author W. Timothy Galway. Since the mind seems to have a will of its own, how can one learn to keep it in the present? By practice. And already it's kind of resonating with me, because the mind definitely has a will of its own. Like, I'm trying to play, but it just does whatever it wants, right? So he says, by practice, there's no other way. Every time your mind starts to leak away, simply bring it gently back. So basically he says to practice bringing your focus back to the match. Now, that might seem a little obvious, and I mean, it does make sense, but he does give a technique for doing this. And whether this technique works for you, I personally enjoy it, because now whenever I start to lose focus, I have a go-to thing to do to bring my focus back. It's not like I lose my focus and I start thinking, oh, I need to bring my focus back. How do I do that? I instantly have a thing to at least ground my thoughts, if that makes sense. Like, I start losing track, I think of this, and then, okay, I'm back into Smash. So he says how to stay concentrated in the here and now between points. My own device, and one that has been effective for many of my students, is to focus attention on breathing. Putting attention on breathing simply means observing my breath going in, going out, going in, going out in its natural rhythm. It does not mean intentionally controlling my breath. So that's kind of just a side note. The second my mind starts wondering about whether I'm going to win or lose the match, I bring it gently back to my breath and relax in its natural and basic motion. The premise for this is kind of the fact that your breathing is always happening. You know, you're always breathing, so you could always bring it back to that, and it's something you could kind of focus on, because there's a rhythm to it and it's natural, right? So you're not thinking about the future, about your vacation, you're not thinking about the past, you're not worrying about whether you win or lose, or if you prepared enough. It just brings your mind back to the present, and then it could bring you back to the present game. You could also, like, say every time I start to daydream, just think of the material of my shirt or something, right? Just, you know, something that's like in the present. But the thing with breathing is that, like, it's something you could sustain focus on, because it's constantly happening, right? In a natural rhythm. If it works for you, that's great. If it doesn't, you could use however you want to, but it is just practice, bringing your mind back to the game and not kind of letting it just doze off forever. And even if your focus isn't 100% when you're back to the game, as long as you're not thinking of random stuff, I think that's pretty good, because I've talked about in past videos, and I'm not gonna dig down this rabbit hole right now, but you can't be 100% focused all the time. Like, there's a whole book, Thinking Fast and Slow, about fast thinking and slow thinking. Slow thinking is if I ask you to do 7 times 77. Fast thinking is like 2 + 2, 4, right? You can't slow think all the time. Like, when I get up in my bed, I can't think about how I'm gonna brush my teeth mechanically or get out of my bed, I just do it. But when I get in my car and I back up, I do have to use my slow thinking. I said that all really fast, but don't worry about being 110% focused like you're on some like 80 Adderall stuff. If this trick doesn't work for you, or like you just can't seem to focus like 100% zoned in, aim to be so good that you could beat people in half your focus. The last thing I want is for you to shift your accountability and say, well, I can't improve because I can't focus. That's the last thing I want you to do. And I want you to hold yourself 100% accountable, because you can't control your focus all the time. And you do focus more on your last stock when it's last hit, right? You've all experienced that. You can't have that focus all the time. Your mind, your brain just doesn't work that way. And I made a video on that. You can check that out after. So I rushed this last part, but I hope you enjoyed the inner game of tennis part. Pick up a copy if you like. Don't forget to hit that DK thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Spank that subscribe button, and I'll see you next time, guys.